Though it is a very lackluster. Oh, I thought my camera was off. Though it is a very lacking news day today, we still got a little bit of news for me to share with y'all. And it starts with the return of the Brian Kendrick to WWE, as Brian Kendrick was the one behind the the SmackDown Women's Championship match. Brian Kendrick returned last night at Survivor Series, according to reports, as a producer. And I think for his first match producing, he did a solid job because not everybody's going to hit a home run in his first time, but he did his job. And he did his job well. So it is good to see that, number one, WWE is not only bringing back people that can help on camera, but also people that can help behind the scenes. Because if Brian Kendrick is anything, it's that he knows what he's doing when it comes to being in the ring. Speaking of being in the ring, Finn Balor, in preparation for Survivor Series, did speak about past main roster frustration about being stifled creatively because of all the departments in his mind that, you have to appease when working on the main roster, and that he, in a way, sacrificed his own happiness for the happiness of others on the main roster. But now, I don't know if he started doing that when he was down in NXT or if he started doing it when he came back to the main roster. But he said now the one thing that has changed is the fact that he stopped doing that. So that is a very, very much a positive thing for Finn, because Finn has been doing, in my opinion, his best work. He's been doing his best work as a member of the Judgment Day on the main roster. Finn had always been a superstar on a different level working in NXT. He'd always been on a different level in NXT than he was on the main roster. So seeing him in the position that he's in, somebody that will break through when they finally do break apart the world title again, that it's something that a lot of us have been waiting a long time to see. Because the fact of the matter is, Finn Balor deserves to be a featured talent on the main roster, because there's nothing that he hasn't done in WWE to put himself in that position or deserve that position as somebody that has given it his all in WWE over the years. And the fact of the matter is, he has done everything that the company has asked of him, and more. And it just feels like ever since he was injured after that Universal title match back in 2016, that they were too afraid to give him anything worth a damn on the main roster. But he proved that he can lead a brand. He proved that he can be that guy in his time in NXT. So I don't understand why WWE would never give him another opportunity. But it does seem like Triple H is more than willing to give him another opportunity. So it is something worth noting that Triple H taking over as the head of creative, Triple H taking over as the head of creative is something that will benefit Finn Balor. And I, for one, think that is by far one of the best things that could have happened for Finn, because of the fact that Triple H knows the best way to put Finn in a position for success, and wants to use Finn to benefit the roster and have success. Because I do think that Finn is more than capable of being featured in a prominent position like he was in NXT, but on the main roster. I think he is more than capable of doing it. speaking of being featured in a prominent position, speaking of being featured in a prominent position, we have reports from Kurt Angle. I believe he discussed it on a recent podcast appearance that there were rumors of him he had desire to set up a dream match between him and the Hitman. Now, he just glossed over the topic, so it is left for us to make our own conclusions. But based on prior knowledge on my part of past rumors of Bret Hart returns, I think that it is entirely possible that the timing of this would be WrestleMania 18. Which, off the top of my head, WrestleMania 18 is 2002, which I believe, if I could be wrong, WrestleMania 18 was when Kurt Angle fought Kane, I believe. He fought Kane at WrestleMania in one of them matches that allowed both men to get on the card and was nothing more than a match to get both guys on the card. So it would have been nice to see whenever it was, but I do believe that this could have been something, because also, if you remember, at WrestleMania 18, there was rumors of WWE trying to get Bret Hart back to work as the special guest referee in, I believe, the world title match involving Chris Jericho and Triple H, to give that a little bit of a little bit more oomph behind it after the announcement of The Rock versus Hulk Hogan. So it is something that I'm sure. I'm not discounting the idea. Let's put it that way. I'm not discounting the idea. I don't know if that's something that would have been logically possible because of the shape that Bret Hart was in at that time, or if it's just Kurt saying that would have been a dream match had the circumstances been different. But what we do know is Kurt did talk about it on the podcast. I'm not sure if it was his or somebody else's, but what we do know is it was spoken about. And I know that Bret Hart dream matches are something that a lot of people don't necessarily talk about. Bret Hart dream matches are something that a lot of people don't talk about. And it's a shame, because Bret Hart dream matches are something that a lot of us lost out on because of what happened. But it is unquestionable, absolutely unquestionable, that the fact of the matter is, it is 100% unquestionable that if the circumstances were a little bit different, that Bret Hart versus Kurt Angle would have absolutely been a dream match. But also think about it like this. Within a year of Bret Hart being gone, or within about a year of Bret Hart being gone, year and a half, because Bret left in November, so let's put it at a year and a half. Within a year and a half, Chris Jericho was in WWE, as was Kurt Angle. By 2000, Eddie Guerrero was in WWE, Chris Benoit was in WWE, so Dean Malenko was in WWE. So a lot of people that could have worked with the Hitman were in the company. Were in the company, and it could have changed things as far as Bret Hart was concerned, because he would have had a ton of people to be able to work with. So that is just something that is unfortunate, but something that we note now. It's just something that we note now as, hindsight being 2020. The last bit of news that we need to talk about is the fact that during the show last night at Survivor Series War Games, there was a ton of Sasha Banks chants, specifically during the women's world title match with Ronda Rousey and Chauncey. You know, reasoning aside for the fans chanting Sasha Banks, the one thing I can say is I think everybody hopes that Sasha Banks does return at some point. But the one thing that we need to address is the fact that right now Sasha's off doing her own thing and enjoying being away from WWE. So if things change, or once things change, I'm not writing off the possibility, but it's like I said the last time I spoke about this. I don't just want to hear about Sasha Banks. I wonder what Naomi's doing, and if Jimmy could talk her. I mean, if Jimmy could talk his wife back into coming in, and maybe working with the Bloodline, because I do think that the SmackDown Women's division needs a little bit more going on than just Ronda Rousey. Because also, I just want to point out that the Raw Women's division, after last night, needs to be shaken up. It needs to be shaken up. After last night, it needs to be shaken up because Damage Control was the group that lost the War Games match. So that match definitely that feud needs to end. The women need to move in their move their separate ways, and new people need to be featured in the top of the women's division, and it not just being Bailey, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky, or maybe even give it to Dakota Kai or Io Sky to face Bianca Belair. But the one thing that the company needs to understand is that they're running out of challengers for Belair as the champion, and they need to shake things up as we head to WrestleMania before they can give it to instead of giving it to Bianca Belair, or at least have it written in stone that Bianca will lose the title very very soon, because we are coming up on a year as Bianca Belair being WWE champion, which is insane. That not only do we have two champions at this point that are holding the belt for over a year, we actually have three champions holding the belt for over a year, because you have the unified tag team champions, the Usos, that have held the SmackDown titles for almost a year, or for over a year. They've held the SmackDown titles for over a year. And, of course, Roman Reigns has held the Universal title for over two. By WrestleMania 38, yes, at this point, Bianca Belair is only at 234 days. But by WrestleMania 38, um, it would be over a year. So it is entirely possible that Bianca Belair is given that seal of approval, quote unquote, to be to be that person who defeats who that's what I meant. To be that person who is able to keep the belt for over a year. Let me know down in the comment section below your thoughts on anything and everything that I spoke about in this video, including Bianca Belair holding the women's title for over a year, or around a year, if she keeps it until WrestleMania this year, because she won it on April 2nd, and WrestleMania this year is set to take place on April 1st and April 2nd. So actually, um, not only is it going to be taking place WrestleMania 39 in the same spot that COVID WrestleMania was supposed to take place in before the event was moved, but also Bianca Belair would be at 364 days or 365 days even if she keeps the belt until WrestleMania 39. So let me know down in the comment section below if you see that happening. And also, just out of curiosity, if how important is it, in your opinion, that WWE does start thinking about splitting up the world titles and not just giving Roman Reigns his first loss in over 2 years, but but splitting up the belts for the sake of Raw and SmackDown's future stability and giving them back two separate world champions instead of one unified champion. Let me know all that and more down in the comment section below. And if you're liking the content, feel free to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this that you can only find right here at Wrestling Express, because any and all interactions with the video are much appreciated and do help us get noticed by that pesky algorithm. So give us a hand in getting noticed by that algorithm by leaving a like, subscribing, and or leaving a comment. Or do all three. Either way, do not forget, before you go, to ding that notification bell to always know when a new video is up on the channel. And I will see you all again soon.